Hello, Internet. My name is Hunter Reardon. I am an English teacher at Palo Alto High School in Palo Alto, California. And I'm here to do a tutorial on how to use tables in Microsoft Word. So I'm using tables in Microsoft Word on a Windows computer. So it's important to note that the Mac OS versions of the Microsoft Office are going to be different than the one that I'm using here. But all the functionality is about the same. It's just that the individual positioning of the buttons is going to be a little different. So if you're on a Windows device, you could follow this pretty much exactly, and it should work for you. If you're on a Mac, you might need to pause occasionally and make sure you can locate the different buttons I'm going to be pressing. So to get started, I personally find that Microsoft Word is still superior to Google Docs for the design of sleek, clear, and effective and pretty documents, especially documents that are table based. That is, they're boxes that contain different things, that organize ideas, that allow you to present material in an effective way. Google Docs, of course, does have those added abilities to the added ability to share things and save it on the internet. But you can always, at the end, you can always create something with tables in Word, and then you can use Google Docs to convert it from the Word format to Google Docs format. If there are any little, formatting things that get messed up in that process, they're usually fairly easy to fix in Google Docs. So using Microsoft Word as your basic, as your go-to for designing tables I think it's just a good practice. You're much more likely to have a good experience. So I'll also mention for anyone watching this who's not an educator or related somehow to education, this is all about that. I'm going to really focus heavily on the education applications of Word tables. But if you are not a Word tables person, that's not what I mean to say. I mean to say if you are not an education person, then you can, I think these strategies and the tools I'm going to give you here could still be useful to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Everything here is in the default. Actually, no, I take that back. Your margins actually are going to be defaulting to 1 inch. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is if you're starting here at the home menu, you're going to go over to layout, change your margins to 1/2 inch. Not only does this save paper, but it also gives your table a significant boost in terms of how big it can be. I mean, you could even make the margins smaller if you want to. Occasionally I'll do, like you can see here, my last custom setting was 0.4 on all sides. So 0.4 could be really helpful. Or if you are really concerned about space and you want to make sure everything stays on one paper. Also, make sure the orientation is landscape. If you really want to use a portrait that is up and down document instead of to left and right, so landscape, you can, of course. But for the purposes of what I'm going to design here, I think I want a landscape document. I'm actually going to design what I call a weekly planning sheet. This is something that I use as a teacher all the time. I designed this a while back, and I think it's just a really useful thing. Here's what it looks like when it's done. I have, the title and dates, the days across the top, the 5 days of the week, and then I have the 2 classes I teach here. And then I can put the date and what kind of day it is. Like, is it a C day where all my classes meet for 50 minutes? Is it an A day or a T day or an A day where I have periods 2, 4, and 6 and then some other stuff going on in the afternoon? Or is it a B day where 1, 3, 5, and 7 are meeting? And so I can put all that together in such a way that I can just click. I can quickly look and say, oh yeah, on Wednesday I'm doing that. Or Friday I'm doing that, and I can plan this out for weeks in advance. So I might have 3, 4, 5 of these all stapled to each other for like a month's lesson, quick at a glance lesson planning. So it's a really powerful document. I know that you could print something vaguely like this from Microsoft Outlook or some other program, but I really believe in the power to be able to create forms that are customized, that work for you, and that do exactly what you want them to do. and that function according to the way your brain works. So that's what this tutorial will allow you to do. So I want to go through this. My first thought here is that I'm going to want to go to insert because I'm starting with a table. So also, oh wait, holding on a second here. The default font is Calibri 11. My favorite is Garamond, so I always change it to Garamond. And I changed to Garamond, and I'm going to start with size 11 for now, but of course it's going to get bigger pretty soon. So Garamond 11. Also, there's this weird thing that Microsoft Word does that I think is super annoying, where it creates artificial space between your lines by doing or with some witchcraft. I don't understand. But you need to go in here. I'm going to show you how to do that again. You need to go in here, click on the little paragraph button, and then change this from 0 to 8 point to 0, 0 point. Change it to a 0, and then click OK. And then there will be no more, it won't give you all that weird extra space between your lines that just looks awkward and unprofessional. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. One table. Okay, I have one nice big one row. Tables all work with rows and columns. So I have one row. I'm going to start with, I'm going to give it a title. Maybe I want size 25 font. Weekly planning sheet. Okay, cool. Make that bold. What I just did there is I highlighted that and I did Control B on the keyboard. If you don't want to do that, you can also make it bold with the bold font button. Which I'm not sure where that is. Here it is. You just click on there. That works too. Okay, I want the dates section. I had that dates bit there. I'm actually going to grab this and put it over here so I can make sure it looks the same. I'm going to split these cells now. I want 2 columns. I'm going to say dates. We're going to come back to adjust the size of that a little bit. But for now, we'll just leave that alone. Okay, I need a row for all the weekdays. So I'm gonna, you see this is 2 cells here. And I don't want it to be 2, I need it to be 5 plus. Since I know I'm gonna have a column here that tells me what classes I want, that actually means I'm gonna need a 6th column. So 5 days of the week plus that extra 6th column for the labels for the next rows. So I'm going to merge these. I'm going to go, once again, I'm under, since I'm working in a table, I got this window here that says design layout. I'm under layout, and I want to highlight these, merge them. Okay, cool. I've got merged cells. I don't want the font to be nearly this big, so I'm going to drop it down. I clicked back to home, and then I'm going to take it to maybe 14. That might still be too big, but we'll see. Okay, layout. Split cells, I need 6. So I'm going to say 6 columns. Okay, now I just got 6. They're all the same size. Do I really want them to be the same size? No, not really. Because I want this one. This is just going to be, it needs to be just big enough to hold the labels for the 2 classes I'm teaching. I'll make it about that big. But now wait, my Monday column, this would be Monday. I'll put the names in here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nice. Okay. Now, but wait, my Monday is now way too big. How am I going to fix that? I'm going to merge these. I'm going to highlight all these cells. And there's this great little function under the layout window, under the layout tab called distribute columns or distribute rows. So we're going to use distribute columns. What that means is it takes the total length of all of these cells, and it takes that and it divides it by the total number of columns there are. So if there's 5 columns, it's going to take the total length and divide it equally by 5, distribute columns. Cool. Now they're all the same size. Being left justified is kind of awkward. So I'm going to center them. Nice. That looks pretty. Alrighty. I want another row. So I just did insert below, create another row. Another way to do this, if you wanted to, you could just highlight these, right click or 2-finger click on a Mac, copy, put your cursor right below and paste, and then it'll actually repaste what you already had. And then I'm just going to highlight and delete these. 2 different ways to do it. Either way works. So next thing, I So I've discovered here that I actually really want, I want to have a little box here for the date, like what's the number day. And then I also want to have another box to tell me what kind of day it is, like what periods are meeting on that day. It's not always consistent. So, but I've got 5 boxes here and I need 10. So I'm going to do the split cells thing again. I'm going to split these cells. Microsoft Word already was able to figure out that I probably wanted 10 because it's the default. Usually, however many cells you have, you probably want twice as many, so it just defaults to that. It's 1 row, 10 columns, go. Okay, now I have to make these all kind of roughly the same size. There's no good way to do this, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it by grabbing the middle, dragging it over, kind of close, give or take. Yeah, that looks good enough. Yeah, it looks good. Well, maybe I want to make that one a little bigger. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, those look all right. It's okay if they're not perfect. And then, okay, nice. Now I have a little spot to put the date and a little thing here for a little spot to put what kind of bell schedule it's going to be that day. So below. Okay, this is where I'm going to teach. This is where I can start putting my classes. Now, I'm going to want a bunch of space to be writing in these cells, to be saying like, okay, I'm going to do this activity and that activity and introduce this thing or whatever. So I want this to be bigger. I can go up here to layout, height. Right now the height is 0.15 inches. I'm going to make this, I'm going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to say, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So this is 8.5 inches. I've probably used a couple inches already. So I'm going to say maybe I've got 6 inches left. I'll say 3 inches for that. And okay, cool. But wait, I don't need this extra row here. That's weird. So I can just take all these. I can get rid of those by merging the cells all in one big one and then splitting them again into how many? Well, there's 5 days of the week, so 5. I changed the number of columns to 5. Go. Cool. Now, okay, what class is this? Well, maybe I teach, let's see. So I'm going to say, I want to change the text direction and center it. That's what I'm doing up here. Change text direction, center. So now my text is centered here. And I teach American, I have this first period. So I usually start with it, American Literature 11 honors. And then, okay, labeled. Awesome. These 2 cells right here are duds, like they don't do anything. Usually when I have dud cells, especially if I'm not terribly concerned about toner, because it's not a document I'm going to make a zillion copies of, I will actually go over to the design tab. I just saw me there. Design tab, and then I'm going to go shading and black. So now it just blocks them out and makes it so, oh, I made that hide. Oops. If you accidentally do that, it's pretty easy to fix. You just right click between the words, between the different menus, and you go back from collapse, and you click collapse the ribbon. Okay, so American Literature 11 honors. I did that. Now, to below, what I wanted to do. So put my cursor here. I'm going to say insert below to create another one for English 9A. Now, some people, I imagine, I actually, in my old version, I'll bring my old version back over here. You can kind of see. My old version had this extra row here to put the dates again, the same dates and the same bell schedule labels, A day, B day, C day. But I decided that you probably don't actually need that. As I've been using this first version, I realized that I didn't really need to do that. So I'm not going to put it in this one. If you wanted to, you could just do insert above and then you make it smaller again. I'm going to drop it back down to 0.15 and then, and then I could add it in there, do the same thing again, highlight, split cells, 10, and then resize them to line up with the ones above there. But I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to use Control Z, undo, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and it's gone. Oh, sorry about that. I had the lights go off on me. Okay. Alrighty. I just realized that my eyeballing was a little off. So I actually These could actually be a little bigger than 3 inches. I can give myself a little more space. So I'm going to grab all these. I'm going to highlight them all, go over to Table Tools, Layout, make it 3.2. Okay, nice. I might even be able to make it a little bigger. How about 3.3? Nice. Okay. Now this created this annoying second page, which is a really common problem in Word tables. There's a special way you get rid of it. It's a kind of a backdoor trick. It is Control. You press and hold Control. You press and hold Shift, and then you press the number 8. And what it does is it makes all these little paragraph location button things show up. So then I'm gonna highlight it. The problem here is that this paragraph thing is taking up space. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to change the font size to 1. And what it does is it takes that teeny tiny thing and it puts it here. So now it just takes up that little space. I'm going to go Control Shift 8 again, get rid of all those marks, and voila. Now I only take up 1 page. And the table has now officially been made. Now this, even though this playing sheet is only one specific document, you could very easily adjust the material I've talked about here for a wide variety of purposes. You could, I imagine you could change the title here. You could maybe add a, name, date, period. You could add name here. You could add another little row that says your name and the class period and the semester, just in small font, just to keep track of it. You could do a whole bunch of things. You might change all of these instead to A, B, C, D, F, and then on the left side here, you could change this to the different criteria for an essay, and then voila, you have a rubric. So this is Microsoft Word Tables is an incredibly powerful tool. I have been working to master this for many years, and I have found that it has completely transformed my teaching, and also has just really given me a chance to contribute to the materials I've made to the wonderful community of the English department at Palo Alto High School. I hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments on YouTube, and I will absolutely get back to you and help you. Alrighty, thank you. Bye-bye.